back. You are tuning in to Traders Nation. My pleasure to have back with us once again Garrison Wynn, author of The Real Truth About Success. Garrison, welcome back to Traders Nation. How are you today?
Doing well. Glad to be back.
Good. Over 10 years, all right, you surveyed 5,000 professionals, more than 20 industries across the nation. What happened? Did you wake up one morning and say, "Hey, I need to do something today. Let's go out on this." Let's go out on this venture and, make it a big one and see what we can come up with. What happened here, Garrison?
Yeah, well, actually, it was just lack of other skills, really. What am I going to do?
Yeah, right, exactly. All right.
What happened was we noticed that there was just a lot of odd information out there that didn't make any sense. And I'm not going to name any other books, but there were some books that when you really looked at what they did, they didn't seem to make a lot of sense. And we thought, well, let's go ahead and just try it. Let's start asking these general success questions, and we just found that people literally just didn't tell the truth. And then if we adjusted our question a bit and got deeper, they did tell the truth.
Right. Now, isn't that part of the secret of success? Isn't that part of like their own special recipe? And if I give out my own special recipe, then I'm just going to be diluting the water with other successful people. Is that the mind frame of some of these successful individuals or corporations?
That's a great question. Two parts. One, to some degree it is.
Yeah.
But also we found across the board that the people who were the most successful, what they did wasn't impressive enough.
Right.
I mean, nobody wants to admit that, their brother helped them out. Nobody wants to admit that, I got the job because I know somebody or because I'm good looking or because I've got some advantage.
Sure.
So they want to tell them it's because of my personal greatness.
Right. That's interesting. All right. So what is the real truth about success?
Well, the real truth is that, there are certain advantages that exist in general. You may have some of those, you may not have some of those.
Right.
And what people do is they look around them. They're willing to take a look at the advantages. And then, secondly, they're willing to take advantage of those advantages. And I will tell you, most people won't do it. There's a reason that there's only a small percentage of people who are, that top 1%, as we call it.
Yeah.
Because, you have to be willing, number one, take a look at yourself to see how you're viewed.
Yeah.
We talked about that last time. Number two, you have to, identify what it would take to do it, and then do it. And some people can't identify it because their belief system just can't see it.
Right.
And some people can see it and won't do it because they've got an idea of how things should go, and if they do it that way, they don't really feel like it's the right way, so they do it the other way, which is not as successful.
Right. Garrison, isn't this like personal firewalls? People really get in their own ways of their own success, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's shocking. One of the things we've seen, like from a leadership perspective, there are a lot of managers who are just not willing to hold themselves accountable first in front of their people to hold them accountable. And since they're not willing to hold themselves accountable for something, they never develop a culture of accountability ever. So they're never top leaders.
Well, and then there should be somebody above that should be able to recognize that kind of trait and really not have that person in place. Don't organizations have a responsibility to weed out that kind of a herd?
Well, they do.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
I'll just say yes, they do.
Okay, good. All right, good enough. All right, so you're right about discovering these secret advantages and rising above the unfair advantage, but what exactly is that unfair advantage?
Well, let's take, for example, let's see, when I played on a junior high football team, we just did a lot of tricks to win.
Sure.
We did a lot of things that we ran from a spread offense and West Coast offense back when no one did it.
Yeah.
We just looked so different and we couldn't be beaten.
Sure.
And then a couple of years before that, in what they call Pop Warner football, where you had a weight limit.
Yeah.
The weigh-in was so early. By the time that we got to play, we outweighed everybody by 25 pounds. The coach did that on purpose. We got off the bus. They said, "Hey, our team's going to beat you." We're like, "No, we're playing you guys."
Right.
So what you're doing is you're tipping the odds in your favor. There are many ways to do that. It's not illegal. It's not bad. It's not wrong.
Right.
Since life is not fair, we typically need every advantage we can to be successful.
Isn't that critical, though? You got to have that advantage over the next guy. Not only if you're making a market presence for yourself, but if you want to get onto that market running, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
I mean, you really do.
All right. How important is it for people to recognize, because we all have natural traits, how can they recognize that natural trait and then leverage it to help them succeed?
Well, number one, I mean, and this is a big one, are you really sure that you are really honest with yourself? Can you be honest with yourself?
Right.
And get real.
Yeah.
If you're going to go, if you tell your wife that you're going to go roller skate to the grocery store, and she says, "Oh, honey, be careful," you probably figure out you're not a good roller skater.
Right.
I mean, as simple as that sounds, I mean, are you really honest about the results you've achieved in a certain direction?
Sure.
Where are you at getting the real results? You may have to admit to yourself that there are some things that you don't do well, and to continue to try to get better at those things you clearly don't do well is ridiculous.
Right. All right. So if somebody doesn't recognize their natural trait, that's not a good start. But somehow, how can they bring that out of themselves?
Well, the way that you're going to bring it out of yourself, I mean, one, obviously you can talk to someone to make sure that it'll help them identify it. But number two, you're going to have to test the waters.
Yeah.
Willingness is a strange thing. It's like cracking open a door. Once you open the door of willingness a little bit, you can swing it wide open.
Yeah.
And so you might want to say, okay, let me try something. Let me just stick my toe in the water at something that I may have some aptitude for.
Sure.
And the thing about heroes and cowards feel the same fear.
Yeah.
It's the action they take that separates them. So are you willing to just take a little bit? And it doesn't take much. Just some people take one step in that direction and wow, it feels better. They take a bigger step and they move forward.
Sure. And a trait could be could be a smile. It
sure.
could be how you enter a room, right, at a party. Right?
There's the Andy Warhol story. I mean, that's all he did was walk into parties well. I mean, he certainly didn't paint well, and he had an IQ of 86. So, but his story was he did. He came in and he presented himself as someone who was already famous and already a big deal before he was. So he's the best example of that.
All right. So what's the best way to leverage relationships and resources without coming across abusing people? Because you don't want to use people, because the minute they start feeling being used, it's a big problem. So how can we do that? How can we leverage these?
Well, who can you identify that you really do get along with that really can help you?
Nobody.
There's a criteria. You go with the double criteria. It's easy to say, well, who can help me? That could be manipulative. You say, okay, who do I get along with?
Yeah.
Who do I think I can actually help and maybe help them with their life? Who can definitely help me? So who can I help that can definitely help me that I really get along with? You put those things together and move forward. And there's always a couple of people like that in your life.
All right. So you say in The Real Truth About Success, it's not who you are, but rather knowing who you are. Explain
That's exactly right.
Yeah, explain that.
Well, not to name any names, there's a lot of these BS motivational seminars that keep telling us to reinvent ourselves.
Right.
If I can just change everything about myself, I'll be successful. Like, what kind of loser are you if you're there?
That's exactly right.
So the thing about it is what you have to do is to take a real look.
Yeah.
At the beliefs that you hold.
Sure.
Your belief system creates your experience, and there are a lot of things out there that you may believe. And that those are the things that are actually holding you back. You got to be willing to question your beliefs and write down 5 beliefs that you have that you feel may not be true. What do you believe that may not be true?
Yeah.
Go into all of those beliefs, and what you'll find is there are certain things that are between you and success. You'll see them. Right. It's a very simple exercise.
Well, we can also use beliefs to help us drive to get to where we want to go. All right, we're out of time here today. Garrison Wynn is with us today. Appreciate it again, Garrison.
Sure.
The Real Truth About Success is the name of the book, and it's put out by McGraw-Hill. You can find it at your fine bookstores, Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble. Now, Garrison, you got a website, too. Where can they find you?
The website for the book is TheRealTruthAboutSuccess.com, TheRealTruthAboutSuccess.com, and we're going into a second printing. The book is selling very well.
It surely is. It's a fantastic book, and that bodes to well to show you just how good this book is. All right, Garrison Wynn with us today, TheRealTruthAboutSuccess.com. Head on over to Garrison's website today. Head out, get a copy today, no matter where it may be. Just get a copy of The Real Truth About Success. Garrison, thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Kurt.
You bet. Garrison Wynn, folks.